So the first orchid I would like to tell you about is called Citirium neglectum subspecies woodii. A really long name, no common name for this orchid because it is anything but common. In fact, it is so rare that they only know of one significant colony of these orchids in South Africa. Only one, and this grows on a farmer's private land in the misspelled grasslands of KwaZulu-Natal. So I was fortunate enough to be able to visit there, just to give you an idea of what the environment looks like. And these orchids are found growing in the small little location on a really steep slope on the mountain. Now, most of the Citiriums have very pale colors. They are generally white or soft pink, and we have about 90 species in South Africa. But this one, you can see, is incredibly bright. It has a lot of dilute nectar that it holds inside the flowers, and it also lacks floral scent. So all of these aspects, characteristics indicate that it is likely bird pollinated. Now that's a very rare thing because as highly specialized as orchids are for their pollination, this one is really exceptional because out of our almost 90 Citirium species, only 5 of those are bird pollinated. You can see how it grows on a very, it's a very lush, robust kind of environment, lots of grasses, hard ferns. And in the process, I dissected the flower to take out the pollinia. So that's the little bag that holds the pollen grains. I stuck it in my finger to take a photo, and when I was done and tried to take it off, I could not remove the pollinia from my finger because at the base it has a sticky pad which generally would be quite small to adjust like adhere to whichever insect is pollinating. But this one, it's called the visidia, the sticky pad, is really large and has a very strong glue. So in order to get it off, I had to take a butter knife and scrape it off my finger. Otherwise, it would just have stayed there. And I'll explain now what the purpose of that is. So just to show you quickly what my preparation work looks like, it is quite wild. I just work very quickly initially, doing very freehand, rough studies, kind of just trying to get the essence of the plant, capturing the character. And I will always collect little bits and pieces from the environment, like you can see in the vase. And that is what I will use to construct the background. I will, in most cases, as you'll see, avoid working from photos because the real thing just gives you so much more true information. So zooming in a little bit into the painting, you can see how I then layered the different background elements to create a depth of the environment. And then onto the bird. So this orchid is very exclusively pollinated by 2 sunbirds. The one I chose is the greater double-collared sunbird. Now how it works, it will go and land on the orchid and stick its beak into the flowers to drink these large amounts of nectar. Very interestingly, if you can see my cursor now, that spur, that is the nectar spur of the orchid running down. I hope you can see how I'm explaining this. That curve is the exact same curve as the curve of the beak, which means that the sunbird can go to the flower, it can with precision stick its beak in, drink the nectar from the base without damaging or piercing the flower. While it's there drinking, its beak is going to brush against the visidia, that sticky pad that connects to the pollinia. And as it flies away, the pollinia will then pull out. But now it's going to be stuck to the beak on a very specific place in front, so that it is in the right area where it needs to be when it goes to the next flower for the pollination to happen. But the bird, you can imagine, can get quite irritated with a cluster of pollinia collecting on the beak. So it has this behavior that is called grooming, where they will go to the surrounding bushes and they will just brush the beaks to try and get it off. But of course, if it loses the pollinia, then there will be no pollination. and therefore it sticks for real. So there is the final artwork. I tried to portray the environment in showing the steep slope against which it grows. And I think my vision with this painting was really to bring you as the viewer closer and to make you see the painting experientially, meaning that I want you to feel as though you are sitting there on the slope in the grass, almost like you want to push the grass out of the way to get a little bit closer. And then that special moment of the sunbird just landing and doing what it needs to do.